When I first got into video production, one of the choices I had to make was what type of equipment to purchase. And I wanted to get the best quality that I could possibly get. So the choices that I had to make was to either go with the 3/4 inch U-matic portable here on the left, or the EVO 340 on the right. Ultimately, I went with the EVO 340. Mainly the reason I did that was not because the picture quality is better off of Beta 1 than it is off 3/4 inch. It's not, but it's fairly close. Very close, especially when you're going to dub it down to a format like VHS. You're probably not going to see any difference. The main reason I went with the Beta format over 3/4 inch was recording time. The 3/4 inch tapes are limited to 20 minutes. This is a mini 3/4 inch tape. By comparison, a 1 hour, well, this one isn't because I don't think this is an L500, but Beta could go for 1 hour, and there's the size difference on the cassette. Side by side, the machines themselves are not much difference in size. Let's take a look at the size difference here. The units themselves are almost the same height, but as you can see, they're the same depth, but the Beta machine is about 1 inch smaller width-wise than 3/4 inch. It uses the same battery, it uses the same power adapter, right? There's the power adapter here, and the power adapter here for the 3/4 inch. 3/4 inch had line in and out, as well as the camera input, and the camera input on the Beta was the 10-pin connector on the front, which I've converted to the mic and earphone jack for video and audio when I converted it just for making my test recording. In this video, we're going to test out this 3/4 inch. As far as I know, there is nothing wrong with this unit, but we're going to test it, and then I'll take it apart to show you guys the workings. This unit apparently is very, very low hours, so maybe for a future video, what I'll do is I will dig out my old professional camera, and we'll plug in the professional camera into this unit, or maybe even do it with the 1800 with the tube that's got the mark on it. We'll plug that into here. I'll make a recording on 3/4 inch, and then they'll play the 3/4 inch back right into the computer and cut it together on the computer, but master it on 3/4 inch so that you can see what the quality of the picture from 3/4 inch looks like. Let's get this thing plugged in and just try some playback of some existing tapes that I have. Now, according to the label on this, it says Saturday Night Live, Stones. So this should be the Rolling Stones recorded off of Saturday Night Live on this tape. We have color bars. I probably won't be able to show this for more than a couple seconds because it'll get hammered with copyright if I do, but as you can see, the tape moves along at a pretty good rate on this, and that's why the quality is as good as it is. As you can see, the looks like it's been it looks like it was all been ringing on the picture there. It looks like this is about 10 generations down. I mean, it's not a very good quality copy, but hey, I have some vintage Stones here from Saturday Night Live that was recorded, forever ago. I don't know what year this was, but it's got to be probably back in the 1970s, I would think. Mick Jagger actually looks like a young man. Incredible. So to take the top off this thing, we just undo the fancy screws with the pin, which you can undo with a slotted screwdriver. And these were special Japanese screws, and Sony actually had an actual screwdriver that had a pin on it. It's hard to see on the camera there because this camera won't really focus close like my other camera used to. But we'll get the screws out of this thing, we'll get the top off it, and take a look at the operation of this machine. I'm pretty sure this battery that's in here probably won't hold a charge because this thing hasn't been used in many years. It's ancient, it's obsolete, but hey, this is a collectible piece of equipment. And to have one that's in good working condition, I'm going to try making a recording on it. I'm going to get a tape that's got stuff on it that I don't like. I don't want to erase this stuff. Any of this collector footage I'm not going to erase. But anyway, let me get the top off this thing. I have to figure out how this thing comes apart. It should just lift off. It does. Lifts off just like that. There you go. Now you get to see the huge drum inside this machine. Remove the screw here on the circuit board, and this board will lift up, revealing the complete video drum. Let's get the camera overhead so you guys can see this thing in operation. So I think while I've got this machine apart, I will give it a good cleaning. But there you can see the tape transport. Look at the size of that drum. It's huge. Stop it. On this one, the drum stops. And this unit does not have flying erase heads, so it won't make a good edit. It's not an editing machine, it's just a straight two-head machine. There's the wires that go to the two heads there. I don't know if you guys noticed something there, but we'll stop it and you'll see it. Watch the drums slow down. Note the direction that the drum spins. You notice that the drum spins clockwise on 3/4 inch, whereas on Beta and VHS the drum spins counterclockwise, and that's because of how the tape runs. On 3/4 inch the tape plays from the right side to the left side. The tape is pulled out, wound past the erase head, the video drum, and then on this side is the audio head, the capstan, pinch roller, and the tape comes back around this side. So the drum spins the same direction that the tape is moving. The tape is moving around the drum to the right. It would be counterproductive to have the drum spinning the opposite way because the friction from the drum would be pushing against the tape. It would be creating uneven tension. So the drum always spins the direction that the drum goes, or the tape goes. The tape moves from right to left, the drum will spin from right to left. If the tape moves from left to right, the drum will spin from left to right. I'm just going to take this tape out of this thing momentarily here. We're going to clean the heads on this thing, and then I can put this machine back together. This machine, from what I understand, has very few hours on it. You know, so it's in no need of real major servicing. I wonder if this has got one of those little mercury hour meters. Maybe I'll look for it and see whether we can spot the number of hours. But I would imagine because the camera that was paired with this has 1,000 hours of use, I bet you this doesn't have much more than 1,000 hours of use on it either. So this is a very low hours machine, and this was a good score to get this given to me. Not that I really need a 3/4 inch machine, but it's nice to have, and I've got the 3/4 inch players to play the bigger tapes and record the bigger tapes if I needed to, but it's just nice to have this machine in my collection of Sony equipment. Okay, well, I always wondered about Mick Jagger. As I say, this is pretty rare footage, and I'm gonna turn that down before we get the internet police coming after us here. But I have some rare footage on 3/4 inch. This is just some of it, but yeah, it's. Oh, another neat feature about this machine here is this is something that most machines don't do. Watch this. When I go into rewind, I get a picture. On rewind, fast forward, I get a picture. Constant. It's not. There's no there's no buttons to press. I'm not holding down any button. That's just the way this is. You get rewind and fast forward as a picture. And that's just a characteristic of this machine. So, neat little unit. So I'm going to clean the heads on this thing now, and we'll get it back together. Now let's take a look at how this thing loads and unloads. So I'll stop it and I'll press eject so you can see the mechanism in operation. Just like that. I'll identify all the components in here. So we have the full track erase head here, easily accessible. The guides here. Underneath this cover, we have the audio heads over here, and the pinch roller or the caption shaft is right down in here. That's the caption shaft there. Pinch roller is over here right now, and it makes a complete circle. Let me just get some cleaner out here and we'll clean the heads on this thing. So we get our paper, soak it in alcohol, hold it up against the head drum, and turn the head drum clockwise. We always go the direction that the drum turns. Applying even pressure across the entire surface that the drum spins. And as you can see, we got a bit of dirt off here. We'll do it again. Okay, those heads are clean. Now we're just going to get a cotton swab and we'll do the audio and the erase heads the same way. Get the Q-tip out, cotton swab, whatever, get it wet, and just wipe the erase head, the guides, every surface that the tape touches. Pinch roller down here. And we can do the lower drum, making sure that our heads are rotated out of the way when we touch the lower drum. You want to clean the groove around the side of the drum here, where the tape rides down the surface. And do the same for the audio control heads, which we have to, these ones are kind of hard to get at, but they're right down in here. And judging by how muffled that sound was, the audio heads could be dirty because that sound was really muffled on that tape. So I want to make sure that I pay particular attention to the audio heads and see if I can clean them out. Okay. Now we can reload our tape. Hopefully it's dry enough. Otherwise, we could have a problem in Houston. Okay, I'm going to rewind my tape because my tape's at the end. And we'll see if the sound has been improved after I rewind the tape a bit. So there's the tape rewinding. Still sounds not that good. I don't know how good the recording was to begin with, but we'll try another tape in it and see how it looks. Say this isn't a really good quality recording. It was obviously recorded off TV, and it may have been a dub onto something else before it was recorded onto this tape. Incidentally, that Rolling Stones recording was October 1978 when they were on Saturday Night Live. That's when that recording was made. It's got a tape here of some planes landing at the airport, and the Pacific Western. Some of these airlines don't exist anymore. But on this tape, it says that the Concorde landed here, and this should be a landing of the Concorde, so I'm going to see if I can find it. Looks like people are standing by in anticipation. This was July 11th, 1986, about 5:15 in the afternoon, when the Concorde came to Vancouver, which was not something that was an everyday occurrence. In fact, it never came here. It came here for Expo 86, I believe. Here it is. You'll never see that plane fly again. And of course, somebody's got their big head right in the way. Cameraman's worst nightmare when he's trying to get a shot and somebody else sticks their head right in the middle of the shot. I have another tape here titled DC-3 Flyby, June 7th, 1986, Expo 86. That was when the Expo 86 was in Vancouver. So there was lots of things happening here that year. So here's downtown Vancouver. I think the Concorde's going to fly by Expo, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there's downtown Vancouver, and here it is. The Concorde was doing a flyby of Expo, so we'll get that as well. Also on this tape at the end of that recording was raw footage from somebody's wedding. And you can see this was shot with a 3-tube camera that was badly out of registration. And I'm just going to show you this so you can see the green outline around the edges and the red outline. That camera had been bumped or jarred or something. It was probably an M3 that was shooting this, and the tubes had been knocked out of alignment. And unfortunately the camera operator wouldn't have known that, because he's looking through a black and white tube and he gets back to the studio to do some editing and it's like, oh my god, what am I going to do? And that was the problem with 3-tube cameras, is that if you banged it around, you could bugger it up. So as you can see, the registration is quite bad on this camera, and yeah, that becomes a problem. That was why a lot of videographers went to a single tube camera, because it was too easy to knock your 3-tube camera out of alignment. All it took was a good bang, right? And all of a sudden you've got an expensive repair, unless you're an engineer and can do it yourself. But it's always interesting, you know, to see what you can find on old tapes. You get a box of tapes from a company that's gone under or shut down, and they haven't erased their tapes. It's quite often interesting, some of the things you can find on them. And I think I've got a few good shots here. Some airplanes flying around, which is kind of interesting. That's kind of historical. So I think maybe at a future date what I'll do is I will digitize some of the shots of the Concorde. Not just shoot it off the screen, but actually properly digitize it, and we'll put that up and make a little, cut together a little video from those shots. And I got another tape here that says DC-3 flyby. I want to take a look at that, and then that'll end this little quick video, which wasn't so quick, but you know what I mean. Anyway, let me rewind this tape and we'll check out the DC-3. Oh yes, some of the rides and stuff that were at Expo 86. You can see this tape is not nearly as good a quality as the other one. It's a different brand of tape. I think this was a, I don't know what this is. Anyway, probably an Ampex. No, this is a Sony tape. The other one was a Fuji. No, it was a Sony too. Okay, had a Fuji sticker on it, but it's a Sony tape. Okay, the boxes aren't right. One's in an Ampex box, but it's a Sony tape.